All right, we got the world medalist, 66 kilo, the national champ from the U.S., Brian Lee, and his game day coach, Jason. How's it going?
It's going a lot better now. My arms are fully functional. But yeah, I think today was a good learning experience, and there was a lot to take from it for sure.
So what are you going to take away from the performance that you had today? What's the biggest lessons that you learned coming out to World Championships?
Taking the travel a lot more seriously, just making smarter attempts. It's an international worlds meet, so can't take that too lightly. And I think just taking refeed a bit more seriously. I'm not sure why I started cramping up so much, but yeah, it was definitely unfortunate during deadlifts.
All right, so you ended up totaling 695, finished in second place. You've totaled a lot more than that at PA Nats and in the past. What do you think it was today that led you to have a subpar performance for your standards?
Definitely deadlifts. I think we lost about maybe 15 kilos there. Just my forearms wouldn't just open. I was having a lot of difficulty just holding on to the bar. But yeah, I think just losing out on those extra attempts on deadlifts was pretty hurtful today.
And you missed some lift, throughout the competition, you missed lift on squat, on bench. What do you attribute? I mean, was the speed of the competition, did that affect you?
The meet did go a little fast, but I would say that's typically how I train. I don't think that was too much of a factor. I think it was just execution. I just fell a little backwards on squats. Then bench, I just set up a little too far forward.
So you just mentioned bench. We noticed that on your third bench, you took a handoff, which you didn't on your earlier bench, correct?
He was giving me a lift off.
Oh, you had a lift off?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Anyway, so talking about deadlifts, you said you started cramping or whatever. When did this start?
This was around right when bench finished up. I think we were warming up for deadlifts. Then my both arms just started locking up, unfortunately. So I think for me, the only way I was able to properly set up was just kind of rush my setup more than usual. But yeah, just tried drinking a lot of water, sodium electrolytes, got a couple of massages, and unfortunately it just kind of kept coming back every now and then.
Is this something you've dealt with in the past at all, whether training or a comp or just at any time?
At least for forearm cramps, not really. Typically when I cramp, it's around like the calf area. But yeah, this is the first time I've experienced something like that.
Okay. In terms of deadlifts, your second deadlift, you put in 312.5. I'm just curious, what was the reasoning behind that number?
I think, at least for me, maybe not the smartest because of the forearms, but I think that would be the usual jump I would take just to keep my lead or at least keep some distance going into the next attempt. But yeah, I mean, that's a weight I've pulled in training 5-6 times, so that's a weight I'm very confident with.
So the only reason I ask that is because at a national meet or a local meet, I 100% understand why you would do that. But at this meet, it doesn't matter in general what your regular jumps are. What matters are the attempts that are needed. And in this scenario, by pulling 312.5, you're pulling 2.5 behind a potential person coming behind you and 2.5 ahead of the other person behind you.
Yeah, I can answer that.
Yeah.
That's definitely a lapse on my part. Once Brian came over, arms started locking up right away. We're definitely rushed to try to remedy that as soon as possible. And I probably should have communicated a little bit more with the head coach and the attempts that were made. But, trying to get him ready for the next one as soon as possible, I felt in that time was a little bit more necessary.
So you said obviously your forearms were cramping. Today in general, did you feel strong? Like, we know you missed a squat and you missed a bench. The squat looked a little bit like some sort of missed groove. Like the strength might have been there. I don't know, who knows. But on deadlifts, like without the cramping, did you feel like today was a day you were strong? And if not, did you keep your opener at the higher amount just because that's what you thought you needed in order to win?
Yeah, I mean, like physically and mentally, I felt pretty good. I think once the cramps started coming on, it kind of affected me a little bit. Kind of just felt bad that my body was kind of giving out on me at possibly the worst time. But other than that, I was feeling pretty strong. I mean, these were attempts to use that PA Nats, so I was fairly confident with that. And unfortunately, my body just kind of, I guess, gave out. But yeah, I mean, I was feeling pretty decent up until then.
Okay. Obviously, the goal was to win, and obviously, nobody could ever be happy with second place when they legitimately could have won, right? If somebody has no shot, that's one thing. But you still beat out two other competitors who were also all in the conversation for this. To you, does coming in second place, does that at least give you some extent of happiness, or to you, is there no difference between second and any other place that's not first?
Yeah, I mean, in all honesty, I think anything other than first definitely hurts a little bit. But yeah, I mean, I think today kind of gave me some fire and motivation back. I think being in basically 4 back-to-back meet preps since October was very difficult to kind of burn me out a little bit. But I think, be able to take a long off season now and just kind of get my focus back will be pretty good for me.
I hear. Just one last thing. So obviously, the cramping had nothing to do with being international. But in terms of this being your first international meet, is there anything you would change about how you went about things? Meaning, you missed other lifts for whatever reasons, who knows? But do you think that there's anything you would change in terms of your preparation? Because we know you came early, so it wasn't like a matter of a last second or whatever. So is there anything that stands out to you that maybe I should have switched this or done that?
Yeah, I think just I guess changing attempts more so with the competition rather than the original game plan. I think would be pretty important. I think in my mind I was kind of like, this is what I want to do. Can't really afford that going to a world's competition where the competition is tight. So that's definitely something I'll learn from.
Jason, this one's for you. This is Brian's first World Championships. It won't be his last World Championships. How proud are you of just the perseverance and the performance and all the hard work that he's put in for this comp?
I feel like I'm more emotional than Brian, and I'm super proud of him. We talked about this a year ago, and the fact that he's here is more than I can ask for. I'm just glad that he had me on the platform with him. So I'm super proud.
And Brian, you mentioned that you didn't like hearing the French national anthem at the end of this competition. How fired up are you to come back and change that next year?
I mean, I'm pretty fired up. I think my motivation for lifting was a bit lower because just the back-to-back preps, my body was really beat up. But, I think I'll take a week or two off, just kind of reset my body. I think my fire will be right back to start another prep.
All right, Brian and Jason, congratulations on your huge performance. Congratulations on coming out to Worlds and showing out, taking the silver medal, beating a lot of formidable contenders. We're extremely proud of you, and we can't wait to see you back on the platform again sometime soon.
Thank you.
All right, we're with Natalie Richards, the greatest 57 kilo lifter in the history of the world champion. And Natalie, first and foremost, just how are you feeling after becoming the world champion today?
Well, it doesn't really feel real yet, but it just feels very, very rewarding, I guess. Like, it means, like, the world to me, literally. Feels really, really cool.
Yeah. And you had basically a flawless day. You went 9 for 9. You broke the world record total, 5:12 and a half. It's an absolutely massive total.
I didn't know
And, what do you... You didn't know that? No. So what do you attribute, the success that you had on the platform today? I mean, you had a perfect day when everyone else pretty much in this session was making mistakes, missing lifts. You didn't. So what do you attribute that to?
This is, a team effort. It's not just me out there. It's my handlers, my coach, and my friends, like, keeping me calm. It's very much a team effort, and I was just able to really keep my head focused in what I needed to do. I had no idea what the standings were, where I was at, what I was lifting. It didn't matter. Whatever was on the bar, I was going to lift, and really kept me focused.
So coming into this, obviously everyone knew that there were two main people, you and Jod, at the top. You said you didn't know what you were lifting. When you came in, obviously you had somebody handle you. You didn't know your numbers. You just let him pick whatever it is and just took what it was, had no input?
Yep. Steve and I had a game plan sheet, and then we gave it to our the handler, Arian, and, I kept them updated. Hey, I'm feeling good. I feel strong, or this felt a little off, or whatever. But no, I let them make all the choices.
Okay, so the reason I'm asking that is, did you know that when you hit your second deadlift and you were officially had pulled into the lead at that point, or you had no idea where you were? You did not know that you were.
I had no idea.
So you weren't involved. Like, there was a lot of attempt changes on the third. At that point, you were not aware whether you were ahead, behind. You had no clue.
Correct. I had no idea what I was doing. No idea where I was.
No clue. And you just were going to pull whatever was on the bar.
Yep. After I pulled my second, Arian asked me how did it feel, and I said, "Great. Do whatever you need to do," and just put my headphones on.
You might as well ask. Obviously, you said you were just going to pull what they put on the bar. What was the number that you think, theoretically, if they loaded, that you'd be fine with? Like, how high could you have gone?
Whatever they needed. If they needed 230, 235, whatever it was, I was going to give it my best shot.
So, right, you said you know the numbers. At one point, they actually did have 232.5.
Oh, goodness.
Yes, I mean that wasn't the actual
Yeah.
plan, but they did have that up there. So, after you hit your third, did you still not know that you were like in the lead?
No.
Wow.
I just knew that I needed to execute 9 for 9, and if I could lift every single thing on the bar, then it would be just fine. That's all I thought about. Yeah.
So, what do you have any plans? What's coming up next? Obviously, we know that you get an automatic invite now to Sheffield. You looking forward to that?
Yep. Gonna plan on Sheffield, and if we need to do like a tune-up meet, then sure. Not sure yet, but yeah, I'm excited for Sheffield. Gonna relax for a little bit and then think about it later.
So now that the competition's over, obviously you don't need to worry about your cut, this, that. What are your plans? What are you gonna do now to celebrate?
I need a hamburger and some wine and like a margarita and just relax. Gonna go sightsee for a few days and be done.
How long are you going to be here for?
I'm in Malta another day, and then I go to Rome for the rest of the week.
Natalie, you were extremely nervous in the warm-up room,
Really?
to say the least. To open up the squat, what was going through your head? And then did the nerves dissipate after you hit your first squat, or did they come back like on each lift?
Right. So I was definitely most nervous to get the day started and even hit my first squat. I was thinking about my first squat for days. Like, I was like, okay, you have to go down, then you go back up. You just have to go down and you go back up. That's all I thought about. And, everyone was like, this is easy. Warm-ups were great. Calm down. And so I just went out there and listened to the commands, and it felt fine. And I felt a lot more confident after I got my first squat, which is like totally normal for me too. I'm always nervous, but after I get my first lift, I'm good. Yeah, a little bit. Bench is usually like pretty chill. I can think more about like technically what do I need to do, listen to commands, and then deadlift. After I get my opener, I feel good, feel ready to go. Yeah, but obviously nervous.
I gotta follow up on that real quick. Your opening deadlift, you locked it out way back. Were you especially nervous about how your lockout might be officiated?
Nope. I felt very confident in all my deadlift training throughout prep, and I locked it out the exact same way. Steve always says, just lock it out far, just do your normal thing. So I just went out there and did exactly what I've done in training. So it felt good.
All right, Bubbly here from one champion to another. So my question is, why, like being on that podium, that is your moment, that is your time to shine. And I was actually looking forward to you with your eyes like crying out, singing the anthem. And so I'm like, why didn't you sing the anthem? Why didn't you just tear up? That is when you get to show I am the champion, I am the one, and I worked my butt off to get onto this podium. Where was the emotions?
Well, if you were listening to the announcer, he told me to stop crying because I was already crying before I even got on the platform.
Who cares what he says? It's your moment to shine, not his.
I was very emotional. I cried a lot. Sorry,
it is
guys.
All right. It
Sorry,
is all right to
friends.
cry. Every time I'm up on that podium, I'm a cry baby.
Even like before they said my name, I was like,
and I loved it. I loved it. I did see those tears. And so I was there watching. At least I didn't get to see everything, but I get to see the deadlifts, and I was there in your corner. And I'm very proud of you.
It means a
today.
lot. Thank you. I appreciate it.
You went against some great competitors who didn't have necessarily their best day, but you had your best day. What was it like just going head to head against Jad Jacob? What can you say about her?
Well, I love Jad. Like, I followed her training for forever, and like I watched her at Sheffield, I watched her at Worlds, watched her at Junior Worlds. Like, I really, really like her lifting, and she, pushes me to be my best. But on this day, today, I just didn't think about anyone but myself. So.
Did you have any words with her afterwards?
Oh yeah, we hugged and talked, and she's just like the kindest person ever, and congratulated me, congratulated her, and just had like a good heart-to-heart moment because like at the end of the day, we're competitors and we care about each other and we care about the sport. So it was really, really good.
Yeah, it was awesome to see.
Yeah.
Are there anyone that you'd like to thank and just brag about that helps you get to this stage?
There's a lot of people. I don't know how to narrow it down to just one. Obviously, Steve for everything that he's done. Like, he's just a sassy guy, but damn it, he's the best coach. Really, his coaching style and his like calm presence has really made it a world of difference. And I'm always excited to train, and that's what's really gotten me here. And then I also need to thank, my family for being here to support me, and like my friends at home and my gym. They wrote me a little card and it said, "Follow your dreams" and everything. And it was very, very sweet. And everyone. There's too many not to name. And
last question would just be, what does it feel like to be the world champion and the greatest 57 kilo lifter that's ever lived?
It's pretty cool. Pretty cool. Hopefully there's more to come.
Oh, I guess one more question. Did you feel like you had more in the tank?
Oh, I don't know. Like I said, I think whatever they put on the bar on deadlift, I could have pulled today. I think squat and bench were pretty spot on. I don't really grind on bench that much, so I think that was pretty much my limit. But then deadlifts felt really, really great on the day.
And you said something afterwards that you were upset with Steve about on deadlift.
Yeah.
What was it?
They loaded 225 kilos, which in bald eagles is like 495. They did not load 227 and a half, which is 500.
So I guess you got to come back
so
and get
now
that next year.
I need the 500 in my next comp.
All right. We'll see 500 at Sheffield then.
Yes.
All right, Natalie. Congratulations on your huge performance. We're extremely proud of you, and we can't wait to see what you do next.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Yay. Thank you, guys, for everything.